Hi guys.
Hey, what's up?
All good. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
How was your Christmas?
It was pretty quiet, good. I mean, relaxing at home. First time with the little kid.
Oh yeah.
So it was interesting. So, but very quiet, very nice, very like it's supposed to be.
Cool.
For you guys?
It was I always get censored during family events.
What? What do you mean?
I'm not allowed to talk about the stuff that we like to talk about.
Oh,
It upsets
seriously?
many people.
are there a couple of staunch Christians in the crowd?
Yes. Oh God.
What's that noise?
That's me.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna do this together.
Okay.
I muted myself. Should I unmute myself?
Yeah, because it's coming on my camera. Oh, by the way, guys, this is Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, John. Hey, Gus.
He's gonna switch over because we're getting echo because we're right next to each other.
Okay.
So just leave your.
Hi, Justin. Can you hear me?
Without, and I'm just gonna over here.
What are you doing?
Shut up.
Yeah, you can do it on mine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll show you.
You're gonna have to just, What up, Gus? All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Make this quick. Pull up notes. All right, guys. So first and foremost, I'm going to have a Google Docs that has all of the videos that actually teach you how to trade and everything.
There's got a very bad reception here. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. So that's going to be coming next couple days. It's going to be pretty much everything on how to do everything. So if you really want to get involved in this stuff, you can. And this webinar is just going to be about kind of letting you know what Bitcoin is, what altcoin is, where everything's going for 2018. So you kind of will know where to focus. And then all the extra stuff is for you. I'm going to continue.
So these videos you talk about, they're videos that you created?
No, there's I spent like $2,500 on a program that teaches you how to trade these coins, and since my experience is in the stock market, I was able to just make sure that all the stuff was good.
Okay.
And this stuff is good. It teaches you entry points, exit strategies, basic chart analysis that just makes trading not emotional and kind of boring, which is kind of what you want when you're spending money.
But what's your goal with this, Justin? What do you want to do with this?
My goal is just to inform you guys, and Josh started a website called robbingcoins.com, and it's pretty much just a dump of daily information on coins and stuff, and like what's going on in the market and everything, and this sort of stuff is going to help him understand how webinars go and get used to talking in front of the camera, because eventually Robbing Coins is going to be 100% video, and I thought I could help him a lot with this stuff. And then I thought maybe you guys would be able to learn stuff. We weren't just doing it in front of a blank camera, you know?
Awesome.
Yes. So, real quick, Josh, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name's Joshua Hones from Charleston, South Carolina. I've been involved in the cryptocurrency space since 2012 when a roommate of mine actually showed me the Silk Road. And at the time, I had no idea what these Bitcoins he was doing, what he was doing with them, but that was a really cool and interesting little form of currency that he was using to buy what he was buying on there. And at first, I kind of just dismissed it. And about a year after I was introduced to it was when the first kind of spike of Bitcoin happened and really got my attention again. And I realized that coins could be used for more than just trading and that people were investing in them now. And the possibility of a decentralized currency system really appealed with, I think, the way I liked it because of a lot of the reasons that most people enjoy it was the decentralization, the non-government oversight, and the non-financial oversight. So I started exploring the space more, got into Ethereum and the crowd scale, and basically just went from there and have since moved on to just fully working in the crypto space, doing trading, and now trying to get this website up and running, which is, like Justin said, it's going to be discussion on Bitcoin, Bitcoin news, altcoins, other areas of the space, and just trying to help people who aren't involved understand and kind of put it in layman's terms, and also people that are involved, give them advice and trading tips that I think good ICOs or good projects coming up or that might be out already. So, and
Josh,
I met
Josh,
Nick.
will you be going more in the
Justin, through a mutual friend,
Josh?
and just started working together and try to combine our powers.
Can I ask now? So, Josh, will you be going in this the website? Will you be going more into trading or more into explaining the technology behind it, like the blockchain and where it's going and what's the next step, or more trading, making money off coins?
So I think what we'll do is we'll probably have a tab or a little section that kind of explains blockchain, explains the basics and the stuff like that for newcomers. But the main goal is to help people learn how to trade and how to actually make money with the blockchain and with different coins and such. So definitely want to lay down a fundamental, explanation of it, because it kind of is difficult to understand at first, but the end goal is to help people trade and help people make money. So.
Cool. Yeah, anyone else got quick questions? And then we're going to jump into some information.
Yeah, just the other question, are you going to look into also like currencies, kind of like the first app that makes sense on the blockchain, right? But there's going to be a lot more coming down. Are you going to be looking at other opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure if you've looked in the space, Bitcoin's not the only people doing it. There's Ethereum and other platforms that are letting people build decentralized apps on them. And we're starting to see the first wave of apps come out now with the whole CryptoKitties thing that happened. I don't know if y'all heard of that. But the first applications are starting to be built on these platforms that use blockchain in ways other than just a currency. So try to explain those in real world applications.
Yeah,
we're gonna
get into that in a couple of minutes. Anyone else? Cool. All right. So really quick, we're just gonna jump into. I'm gonna jump into the metaphysics of cryptocurrencies, how I understand it, and then Josh is gonna explain it way more clearly than I am probably. But I just found it interesting. I like breaking down words, and cryptocurrencies was a great couple words to break down, in my opinion, because when you break the word down, you get crypt, which is either an encoded secret or a grave, as in like death. Can you guys hear me, or is there a sound? Okay. So crypt is either an encoded secret or grave, or like as in a grave as in death. cryptocurrencies themselves are completely public, so there's nothing encoded or secret about it. So the crypt actually means death or grave, and the currencies or currency is just a centralized system of money. So it's literally in the name that cryptocurrencies is the death of centralized money. And I don't know if they did that on purpose, but that's literally what the name means. And at this point, it's kind of inevitable that this is going to happen because it's everyone knows about the technology now and how effective it is and how much money it's going to save everybody. And we're going to get into that in a second. So just really quick, Satoshi Nakamoto created the coding system known as blockchain. And the code has zero chance of being frauded. It can't be hacked. Nothing can happen with it. And most importantly, it has the ability for transactions to occur. And those transactions are put on a ledger, which is linked to a special address. And that special address makes Bitcoin or makes a blockchain have anonymity, which basically just means that you don't know the actual name of the person that you're trading, but you know their address, not their like physical address, but like their own like special address thingy, whatever you call it. And so essentially what this means is that there's no need for a third party. There's no need for a bank or anything, which makes Bitcoin and blockchain one giant ledger for everyone to see. It makes everything, they call it trustless. And so pretty much today, cryptocurrency is acting as a giant vacuum. It's pretty much sucking up all the fiat money. Fiat money is just US dollars, any normal money, pounds, euros, all that stuff, which they technically have no backing, but the only backing that they have is trust in them. And today, because of the Fed and greedy bankers, there's really a lot of loss in the trust in the US dollar. And this is kind of exacerbating the Bitcoin stuff, the push for a decentralized currency. So Anthony, you kind of talked about like other ways to use this technology and stuff other than just currency. And that kind of like is where Ethereum came in. And Ethereum was created by a crowdfunding campaign by Vitalik Buterin, which you guys should check out. He's a pretty interesting guy. And he found out that blockchain can be used for many more things to guarantee no fraud. And these things include anything digital, pretty much. And you can see this at like what Josh was talking about with the crypto kitties, which are just these little cat thingies that they're like Beanie Babies. I mean, that's the best thing. They're like digital Beanie Babies. You can make them look interesting and stuff, and people are selling them for thousands of dollars. It's crazy. And you can also make Ethereum, which is like Pokemon except for Ether. But most importantly, they can stop fraud in voting and funding. So this is kind of where it's kind of getting interesting. I think Russia's using this blockchain for their voting to make it so there's less fraud or no fraud, which is interesting. But interestingly,
Yeah, I was going to say, so other than just like Ethereum and the cryptocurrency or the crypto kitties, there's a lot of really good real world applications that blockchain can be used for too, such as like their storage of medical records is a big thing. Data storage is a big thing that's going on in blockchain right now, because rather than the information being stored in a file or by a single person, multiple people or multiple nodes, which are the active computers in the network, will store the information to make sure that, say, that your information is all there, it can't be tampered with and such like that, unless you have what is needed to make a change on the blockchain, which is the private keys and stuff like that. So that's one of the great real world applications. Another really cool one is with renewable energy, whereas before, people like say with solar panels, if you collected it over a certain surplus of energy, instead of giving it back and selling it back to the electrical company, now you can directly peer-to-peer sell it to other people who need the energy. So that's just a couple of different ways to use the blockchain that actually mean something rather than the trading of crypto kitties, which has somehow become the biggest app really quickly. I don't know why, but
yeah, the reason why we're focusing on Ethereum is because all of the, or half of the new coins that have come out in the past year, and that's like 3,500 coins. They don't ask for exchanges in Bitcoin. They ask for exchange in Ethereum. This kind of puts Ethereum like head and shoulders above Bitcoin. So like in terms of like focus at like a macro view, if you had a choice between Bitcoin or Ethereum, which you do on every trading account or every trading platform, you'd want to focus on Ethereum because essentially Ethereum is being known as Bitcoin 2.0. You got like, just like, when you had the internet coming out, before I was born, there was like a certain type of internet. I don't know what it was called, but then the next thing was dial-up. And that was like, dial-up was like the 2.0 version. So it's like, you'd rather be in the 2.0. And then obviously, 3.0 with the high-speed internet and then wireless and all that stuff. So this is just the next iteration. You really shouldn't, Bitcoin kind of pigeonholed themselves pretty much compared to Ethereum, which can get into everything. Is one I think look at it.
Yeah, Bitcoin's basically stuck in currency exchanges, whereas Ethereum can be used to create any platform to exchange anything seamlessly, peer-to-peer. And the way they do it is through these ICOs, through which is the newest form of crowdfunding, basically. And just there's so many more uses for blockchain than just currency. Yeah, this is what people don't realize as of now. And I think it's like less than 1% of the United States uses blockchain, and it's estimated by 2020 it's going to be up to 10% of the United States GDP using blockchain. So it's sort of like a really big deal. So the next thing, the thing that Ethereum opened up is this stuff called altcoin. Altcoin is any coin that isn't a legacy coin. And the legacy coins are just Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dashcoin. So there's 3,500 of these coins launched in the past year. And when a company wants to launch a new coin, they have what's called like an initial coin offering or ICO, and they offer these tokens, which are just coins prior to purchase launch. And it's pretty much just like an IPO on the stock market. It's like they look exactly the same. Only difference is that ICOs are available for everybody. Cool.
Really shocking sometimes, to be honest.
It must. Gus.
Don't worry.
Gus. Oh, I got you. Never mind. I got him.
All right.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting with the altcoin. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever because I didn't know why a company would want to launch a coin, because why would they want to launch this coin and they focus on their business? And it's like a company launches a coin for funding. Before coins, I think, Anthony, you had an example of this. When you wanted to fund something, you had to get a VC, and those angel investors are, they're sharks. They're kind of tough to work with and stuff. They tend to be anyway, and they can end up kind of messing with the company. And then if you don't go the VC route and dilute your shares of the company itself, you have to go to a bank. And when you go to a bank, get a loan, you have to pay back the debt on the loan, which is a terrible way to start a company. The coins get rid of all of that mess. They pretty much launching an altcoin is now like the best way to fund your business. And because it doesn't involve diluting and you don't have to worry about paying back a loan or anything. And the coins don't actually, they're not shares of a company. They're something separate. But when you invest in the coins, you're investing in that technology. So now everyday people can get in on this action with these disruptive companies before they even go live, which is an awesome position to be in if you're able to find the diamonds in the rough, pretty much. It's essentially like being able to invest in Google, not in 2004 when they launched their IPO, but in 1998, or Amazon in 1994. You're getting it at the very, very, very beginning, which offers huge ROI in terms of, like, we're talking about like 133,000% ROI, just ridiculous stuff if you get the right ones. And in terms of future, 2018 is looking like it's going to be the year of the altcoins. So this is going to be where your focus should be, more focused in terms of micro level. But with that being said, because everything's unregulated and everything, about 95 to 99% of the coins that are going to be launched are scams. So it's important to understand how to tell the winners from the losers. And that's what I'm going to talk about briefly, and then I'm going to let Josh talk a little bit more. So just going over the tools real quick to check out, for checking out altcoins and seeing which ones at the ICO level, which ones are good. You should start at coinmarketcap.com. CoinMarketCap.com gives you an overview of the top 100 coins that are currently traded today, and it kind of gives you an idea, gets your feet wet. You can kind of see how everything works, and it's a great place to start. But where the ICOs are on coinschedule.com and ICOalert.com, and that's where you're going to be able to contact the company and find out how to purchase the coins when you find one that's good. What you're looking for when you go onto these sites, and Josh will probably show you on a screen share just so you can see what the site looks like. You're looking for their white paper, which is just essentially their business plan. And there's a few things that you just need to look for. And first of all, before I get into this, if you do get involved in this stuff and you find a white paper and a company that you think is good, just send it over to me. This is what I do for a living with penny stocks, is go over these business plans to make sure that that the company that I'm promoting is actually quality and not garbage. So this makes sense to me, and I hope that I can explain it properly so it makes sense to you guys too. So the 4 things that you kind of look for when you're looking for a winner is, 1, who's running the team. You're looking for anyone who's famous in the crypto sphere. And you're looking for a centralized group. If there's like one guy, if one of the guys is from India and another guy from Brazil, and they're not located anywhere, it kind of looks a little shady. The second thing, and probably the most important one and the easiest one to check out on, is how does their marketing look? Do they have like a ton of social followers? Do they have like a Reddit following? Are people like excited about the product coming out? And you're looking for that for a number of reasons, not just like social proof, but you have to remember that behind these coins is is an actual company. So when their product comes out, you really need to make sure that that they're going to have early adopters, so that the company moves smoothly, and then the coin is able to shoot up in price. Number 3, what's their what are they actually selling? What's their technology? What are they? Is it a big idea or something? And like what's going on with that? And then finally, long-term stability. You see that in the white papers, like what their plan is 3, 5, 10, 20 years out. Make sure that they're not just a flash in the pan. And make sure that a couple things for spotting scams is make sure that there's no massive pre-mine. And a pre-mine is just a huge amount of coins. And that's essentially just like stocks. If there's a huge amount of shares in a company, the stock's not going to go up very fast because there's so many shares available for everybody. But if there's less, then the share price can go up pretty quickly. And ICOs and coins share that same similarity with when it comes to share float, or the amount of coins that are available. Number 2 is you want them to make sure that when the minings happen, that it's not in one central location, because these central locations, since everything's unregulated, do go down. And if it's at one location, it goes down, it ruins the whole coin for like a few months. Number three is if the company claims to solve many different problems, if it claims to solve world hunger or something, it's probably a scam. And it's just something to avoid. And then finally, the biggest indicator is social media followers. If they only have 50 followers on Twitter, it's probably garbage. And it's just something to just to bear in mind when it comes to this stuff. And so also, I just want to go in really quick. If this stuff doesn't sound like your cup of tea, but you still want to invest, which you should want to invest, there are other ways to invest in this stuff. The best example of this is for the American gold rush, the only people that made money were selling picks and shovels. Well, it's a similar scenario with Bitcoin, because all of this mining is happening. If you guys, Josh will go deeper into the mining stuff, but the mining stuff, you need these expensive computers and these processors and these chips and everything. And there's one company in particular that is just selling these chips and everything cheaper than everyone else and better than everyone else, and that's NVIDIA, NVDA on NASDAQ. So if you don't feel comfortable with the unregulatedness, you can still cash in big just by investing in NVIDIA.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then one last thing, we're just going to go over the boom. There's a boom chart, and it looks exactly the same, whether it was the 1920s, whether it was the housing boom, or the internet boom in the 90s. They all do the same thing, and it's 3 steps. The first one is the early visionaries who invest in a new trend. That's technically where we're still at, in my opinion, because stage 2 is institutional investors. The so-called smart money jumps in at stage 2, and then that's where you start seeing the growth kind of start to take off. And then stage 3 is when the public really joins in, which triggers a massive explosion in share price. And the talking heads in the media will tell you that they think we're in stage 3. I really don't think, hey Genevieve, I really don't think that we're in stage 3 at all, because the institutional investors haven't jumped on board yet. They're actually fighting with Bitcoin right now. And when people say, oh, the institutions are never going to get into it, I think that's complete BS, because they fought the internet boom as well. But everyone uses internet, so it's they'll end up adopting it, but they will fight it because it does challenge the status quo. So like I said, right now we're at like the end of stage 1. The institutions can only hold out for so much longer. They can only watch Asia make so much money before they have to get in themselves. So we're right there. There's still plenty of money to be made. And I forgot, with every boom, stage 4 is the bust. So just make sure to be aware of that. I think we got a couple more years before we have to worry about anything, but just something to be aware about. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me on this stuff. And then I'm going to let Josh get more in depth with everything that I don't understand.
Justin, I've got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry.
The one thing that I don't understand about Bitcoin, for example, is a lot of people are putting money into mining now, right? And part of that mining, they enable the network to work. They do the hashes, the algorithms that enables transactions, right? Mm-hmm. What happens once all Bitcoin have been mined? Like, who's going to provide the computing power in order to make sure the transactions are done efficiently when there's no benefit to it? Like, at that point, there's just a small fee for enabling the transactions, right?
Can they end up being mined?
That's actually a stumper.
We're gonna look into that, because
you got me there. That's because then there will be no motivation to store that for these computers or these miners to be doing all this work and putting it in, because they're not going to receive anything then. So
Yeah, they'll get a small percentage on each transaction, but it's a lot less than they're getting now. And I haven't been able to find anything that answers that question.
Yeah, that's actually a great question.
Then
That's something I need to look into as well.
They don't just
Honestly,
make more coins.
no. So they capped out at 21 million.
21 million, yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, I guess that's the main proponent of Bitcoin is the capped supply. But I guess once we hit that, that's a great question. What happens then? That's something I'll have to do some research into and see what will be people's motivation then. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I'll let you know, Anthony. That's why I'm happy we did this webinar.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Justin hit the nail on the head. We're trying to kind of going over a lot of information fairly quickly. So if you do have any questions, let us know. That was an awesome question. But the main benefit of all this of Bitcoin, yeah, you've heard of all these people making a bunch of money, but it really lies in the blockchain and the distributed information that's free to everyone basically. And there's just a ton of benefits that come with it. It cost and risk reduction, the data security aspect of it, the transparency, and the efficiency, which is really going to help like supply chain management and, the suppliers keeping track of inventory and making sure what they need ordered has been ordered, and just keeping records public is going to really help businesses grow and expand and be more seamless. And it's going to help more than just business. It's going to help in, like Justin said, voting. Governments are going to be less bureaucracy, less bogged downness of everything, because the blockchain will streamline stuff that we can't even imagine right now. Like I used the example of medical records earlier, but at some point everything will be on the blockchain, I believe. But Justin wanted me to go over a couple ways to buy Bitcoin, how to store them, stuff like that. And I'm going to go, most of the stuff I talk about will be on Bitcoin, but it applies to most cryptocurrencies. And obviously, when people say cryptocurrency, it doesn't necessarily actually have to be a cryptocurrency. It's just a token or a coin used in the process of the company or to the advantage of the company. And he talked about Ethereum, and I really do think that what's called the flippening will happen eventually, which is when Ethereum overtakes Bitcoin. And I think that's because Bitcoin, like you said, pigeonholed himself into the financial sector, whereas Ethereum runs off Ether, which is the gas that all the decentralized applications that are built on the platform use. And so you're actually, if one of these little coins that are invested in, one of these little blockchain companies that are built on the Ethereum platform blow up, whether it be Filecoin, which stores medical records, or the crypto coin kitties, which is just for kids to trade cats. If any of those blow up, it'll benefit that as well as Ethereum, being that it was built on the Ethereum platform. So I think it's a really, really cool aspect. And there are other platforms to build decentralized applications on. A big one is NEO, which is it's in China, and they're starting to release their first decentralized applications this year. So that's another cool platform to look at that uses blockchain. But as far as purchasing, there's a bunch of different ways to buy cryptocurrencies, buy Bitcoin. If you're looking for Bitcoin specifically, you can go to bitcoin.org, and then it's just /en/exchanges. And that is a very reputable list of exchanges for probably over 80 countries, but you can just type in where you are in the world and that'll give you a verified exchange. These are places that have been used. They're not scam sites, because that's what's scaring a lot of people into the market right now, is they don't understand it, and they've heard the stories of scams and stuff on the mainstream media, the news. And this is it's a good list of sites that are reputable, and you can buy coins. And obviously, once you have your coins, you may want to trade them, or you may want to store them. And if you want to store them, you're going to put them in a wallet, just like a wallet everyone carries around normally. But there's multiple different wallets for cryptocurrencies. You've got desktop wallets, which are fairly safe. They can be opened from one computer, and they keep your private keys hidden away. You have access to them. But the only they are a little risky, because if your computer gets infected with a virus, or if you get hacked, maybe you ran your mouth on a forum and said you have 100 Bitcoins and now someone wants to hack you. You put yourself at risk there. And that's also a reason why I wouldn't recommend personally online or mobile wallets, because it's the same thing. You're just exposing yourself to risk. But at the same time, you have to use the online wallets if you want to do trading and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of different websites to trade on, from Bitfinex to Bittrex. And I'm actually going to show you in a second what a trading screen looks like on HitBTC, which is one of the websites, one of the platforms I use to trade on. And the most important, especially if you accumulate a decent amount of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, Ether, whatever it may be, is a hardware wallet, which is basically really similar to a USB or a external hard drive. And it stores your address offline, and it stores your private keys, which is going to be 64 carats in the case of Bitcoin. So you're not going to be able to remember that off the top of your head. You need to have that stored somewhere. And it allows you to receive money while being offline as well. So you don't have to expose your funds to other people. But at the same time, you can plug into your USB port and then send money. Because that's one major thing in these cryptocurrencies that people don't understand, is that if you have your wallet address, that allows you to receive money, but you can't send money using that. You need your private key to send money. So that's obviously very important. And if you've heard about cryptocurrencies, you've probably heard about people losing tons of money just from losing their wallet. Because I've lost my wallet twice in the past year. So if I was carrying around my Bitcoins at all times, who knows how much I would have lost. But that's one thing. And never, ever, ever let anybody have that information. It's so private. And once you do have those private keys, you obviously can't go back and change transactions, but you can send money to another address. And while, the FBI or whoever might be able to hack and see who's responsible for what account, you're not going to be able to personally be able to tell who's running an account. So your money could just be gone. If you lose your private key, it's gone. And there's horror stories all over the internet of people who've lost hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars just because they lost their keys and couldn't be responsible for them. So that's very important. And y'all have any questions? I don't want to ramble or anything.
You guys want to see the platform?
Yeah, go ahead, and then in the end, maybe we have time.
I have a question as well. Sorry, guys.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to show it.
Guys, what's this this platform you're going to show us? What's this called again, please?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So this platform you're about to show us, what's this platform called again? I have to call
HitBTC. How do I use screen?
HitBTC. Okay.
Okay.
Justin, are you going to be able to send out some information afterwards with all the URLs we're talking about?
Yes.
Thanks.
Justin, is this recorded as well, just out of interest? Because I love that signal. Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Can y'all see my computer up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to hit BTC. And so the way most of these exchanges work is you have to buy your coins somewhere else. And that's why I was giving you all that link to those exchanges. And like I said, we'll provide a list of those links so we can show you. But most platforms, like trading platforms, you have to deposit Bitcoin first. You can't actually buy them from the website, the platform, unless you're using something like Coinbase or something which only gives you access to like 3 or 4 coins. So I don't really recommend that, but let me log in here real quick.
So what do you recommend for people that are just starting off? Like, where do we?
Sorry, did you say you don't recommend Coinbase?
Yeah, I would honestly, just because the functionality and the easy how easy it is to use. Coinbase is a great place to start buying. But the only thing with Coinbase is that the prices are a little inflated, which you'll see once you start checking like different exchanges and different. Justin's told you about Coin Market Cap. There's another great website, World Coin Index, which has a list of their pricing at the time, and they all combine certain platforms, whether you're using GDAX or HitBTC, which I'm trying to log on to now, or Bittrex, Binance. There's all kinds, but you'll see that the coins trade for different prices on different sites. So I like to have a couple different platforms going just to see the price changes, you know? Like with Bitcoin, the price can fluctuate $500 on exchange. So, and then once you get it in Coinbase, you'll sign up for like, say, HitBTC right here, and you'll get an address, and you'll go, if you were trying to do Bitcoin, which I usually make my initial deposits in, you'll click on just the deposit here, and this is your public wallet address right here. This is where you receive money, or it's not money, but receive coins. So you'll send from your Coinbase account to this account, and then you can start trading out for any number of coins. Like on HitBTC, I want to say there's over several hundred right now. But great thing about this is there's all these tabs, whereas USDT is something fairly new. It's called Tether, and it's supposed to fluctuate with the price of $1. But there's been some shakiness about it, so a lot of people are skeptical about it. But the main thing, I like to compare other coins to Bitcoin because right now it is the coin. You know, it's what everything is measured against. Yeah. So you can look at your different ratios and such, and it also obviously tells you buy and sell orders. You can scroll down. Let's see here. You can see the order book right here, and you can see people's sells, people's buys, and this is all real time. And trading the ratio is a great thing to do. 0.05 is kind of the benchmark, whereas if you take the price of Ethereum right now and divide it by the price of Bitcoin, it's going to be around 0.05. And a lot of times what I'll do even at night is consolidate a lot of my Bitcoin or Ethereum into one or the other, whichever I think is going to make a move on the other one. Say I think Bitcoin's going to move up on Ethereum. It might not move up in price in terms of dollars or pounds, but if it moves up on Ethereum, that's good for me because then one Bitcoin will buy more Ethereum than it would the night before. And that's basically right now, as I'm trading, my end goal is to accumulate Ethereum right now. But on HitBTC, I'll show you this real quick. You can just go to several of the coins that I'm holding right now and click this. You'll hide all your zero balances, and you'll see everything has a main account, which is kind of, I mean, it's not super safe on a platform, but then you have your trading account. So, and it's really simple. Say I wanted to, I have $26 here in USDT or Tether. So I just click on trading, and there's going to be minimums for everything. Like, and every website's different. But see, the minimum to buy Bitcoin here is you have to buy 100 Satoshis. So that's another thing we can go over is 3 points to the right, or the thousandth mark, that thousandth decimal place is known as the Satoshi. And that's basically like the penny or the basic unit of Bitcoin that a lot of people use. So right there when it shows 0.01, it's going to be 100 Satoshis. But you see here, I think the minimum, yeah, I have to buy one. You have to buy at least 0.01, and I only have $26 in that Tether account. But I can come up here, click on the USDT, and we'll buy one of these little penny ones real quick, just for fun. Let's see here. See if they have Verge. No. Okay. See if I can buy a couple Litecoin. And so you want to do, if you're an experienced trader, you can use the the limit option or the scaled option, I like to set buy marks and stuff in case something flash crashes, and sell orders just in case. But obviously right now you're just going to want to use the market.
Yeah, and just real quick, guys, he's going to go over this broadly. The videos that I'm going to send you guys goes over all this equally as in depth. So you don't have to memorize anything now.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, and feel free to cut me off if I'm rambling. So Justin's helping me, but this is my first time doing anything like this. So yeah, so you'll just click the currency you want to exchange. And right now we're going to do USDT. Scroll down here and say we want to purchase 0.1 Litecoins. See if I have enough there. So I have insufficient funds there. Let me sell into something real quick. Sorry, I should have planned on this ahead of time. That is one unfortunate thing about these websites. If you look over here in my trading account, see all these super small numbers. And that's because I've traded, say I've traded Bitcoin to buy this icon or something, and now I have this amount left, but that is not enough to use. So basically that just gets stuck on the site until I decide to buy more or deposit more Bitcoin. But for now, I'll get to these Tron coins and I'll exchange them all out for some. Tron coin is it's a small altcoin, and I'll trade it out for USDT. So I'll come over here to sell my TRX, and as you see, there's 5,700 of them. So I'll just sell 4,000 of them for now. And so my order goes through immediately almost on these sites, which is great because when you use a hardware wallet or you're transferring to even a desktop wallet, a lot of the times it requires the blocks to go through. Like once every 12 minutes, a block goes through on Bitcoin. I believe it's every 45 seconds on Ethereum. And these hardware wallets and stuff, they make you have 6 or 7 confirmations, which are going to be blocks, before they allow the money to hit your wallet. So you won't see them in the case of Bitcoin for like an hour. So these exchanges are immediate. As you can see down here, shows all my orders. Dude, this one just went through right away. And so I sold that TRX and say, we want to come over here and take that and buy some Ethereum with it. Because now if you look up here, my account has the $166 instead of that 26 there was before. So I'll come down here to the USDT tab and I'll just click ETH, which is the symbol for Ethereum, or Ether, the gas that the platform runs on. And in Ethereum, you can buy just to the 1,000th. So obviously, we'll see, just buy like 0.1 right now. And you'll see how quick it goes. Order immediately fills right there. That's why I like hit BTC. And you can see it over here as well. It's reflected. And then if I go back to all my balances, it's automatically and pretty much seamlessly there. I mean, it's really convenient how quick some of these platforms are. And so yeah, hit BTC is a great one. You see that Ether is already showed up in my account. And if I can also change it over here, if I don't plan on using it, just transfer it into, this can basically be used as a bank. And
yeah, the reason why we're showing you hit BTC and not Coinbase, other than the fact that Coinbase only has 3 coins, is that Coinbase is a great place to start and end very quickly, because the site, I don't know if it's like crashes, but like it becomes like impossible to sell Bitcoin for like hours. And we had that 50% drop last Friday. People weren't able to sell during that time on Coinbase, which is actually probably a good thing. But the site crashes very easily and is very gimmicky, and the people who run it aren't the savoriest of people. And there's just so many other better options, but it's a good place to start so you can buy Bitcoin, so then you can transfer it over to a real account, so you can trade, so you can actually trade with some flexibility and not fear. There's like a top bar where it just says, we can't make trades for a couple hours, guys, sorry. you know, and that's kind of, to me, that's scary. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like being able to do instant trades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, Coinbase is great because of how easy it is to use and stuff, because a lot of people are intimidated by this market. But it's also same thing with a lot of these exchanges. They're kind of manipulated a little bit, and I don't know if that's intentional or what's happening, but like he said, sometimes as a price surges, you won't be able to sell, or if something is going down for some reason, it'll be off the exchange, you won't be able to buy. So these times when you really want to buy or sell, you can't. So you want to broaden your horizons and check different exchanges. And really, the reason you want to check multiple is because all these altcoins that Justin was talking about, they're not all on every site. Like HitBTC is not going to have everyone. Bittrex, which is another huge site, isn't going to have everyone. So there might be a coin you read about or something coming up, an ICO, and that was just released and you really want to invest in it, but they don't have it on HitBTC. They might have it on Binance or something, or Bittrex. So it's good to have a little bit of money in multiple accounts. That way you can get the smaller altcoins that you want, because obviously everywhere's going to be trading Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, but you get into these smaller ones like, you know, Verge, or I couldn't even tell you half these symbols, but they, once you get into the smaller ones, they're not offered on a lot of sites. So it's great to kind of diversify and be able to use different sites. And that's just with what you're trading. You obviously don't want to store too much Ether, Bitcoin, anything you have on one site, because they're not immune to hacks. So that's one thing there. But yeah, do y'all have any questions for me or Justin?
From me, what can you tell me more about Ethereum in terms of its life cycle? When did it start, and what's the sort of forecast over the next 6 to 12 months?
Okay, so Ethereum was actually created in 2014, and it was a former Bitcoin developer. He worked on the Bitcoin team for several years before. His name is Vitalik Buterin. He's basically like this wonderkind Russian boy genius who grew up in Canada, though. And he kind of realized that, you know, the value of Bitcoin was the blockchain itself and not the actual coin. And so he decided to branch off and make his own platform. And so he did the first crowd sale through, or like the crowd sale of a crypto, which was Ethereum. And that was in 2014. I was lucky enough to have a friend, the first one who actually showed me the Silk Road, tell me about it. So I was able to throw some money in that. And at the time, coins were selling for 7 cents, and now they're selling for over $700. So that was 3 years ago. You can see the huge amount of money that could be made there. And really last year is when the first applications started being built. So Ethereum, like we said, isn't necessarily a currency, but it does run off what's called Ether, which is basically the gas of the platform. You know, like you put in a car or something, every application needs Ether to run. So that is what you're trading. You're not actually trading Ethereum or stocks in the company or anything. You're trading this gas that allows other applications that are built on top of Ethereum to work. And I named a couple applications that have been built on top of it, such as like the CryptoKitties. The name escapes me right now, but trading of renewable energy, and Filecoin, which keeps track of compresses records and keeps them stored over multiple computers. So the scope of Ethereum is just huge, because literally anything that can be decentralized or put on the blockchain can be using Ethereum. And most of these ICOs are run off it, so they benefit. And these apps that are coming out now are just the first wave of applications, so they do seem kind of gimmicky and stuff, but we're going to have more real world stuff, functionality coming out on Ethereum projects in the next 6 months, I'd say. And I really do think that, you know, 2017 was so up and down with Bitcoin. I think the stability in Ethereum is really great, but I think it still has the potential to go up, skyrocket, however you put it, the same way that Bitcoin did. But I don't think there'll be these flash crashes and stuff that we see in Bitcoin every 2 to 3 months, where it goes from hitting an all-time high to sinking to half its value. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's my projection on Ethereum. That's actually one thing I was going to talk about too, is finding coins that have functionality. And I really like the functionality of building other decentralized applications on top of it, because there's already like Ethereum Twitter, which is, you know, an uncensored Twitter basically, but it's kind of been stalled out because you can only open it HTML right now, and most people don't want to do that, obviously. But there's going to be all kinds of stuff built on there, and NEO is another great platform that allows you to build decentralized applications. And there's a couple other, if you do some research, and I think that's a great space to invest in. Another really cool space I think to invest in is these coins that are focusing on anonymity, because even though Bitcoin, you know, there's no face or social security number, ID, driver's license tied to your address. If you do a little research and with the right, you know, computer skills and sort resources, you can figure out who owns an address, or the government can basically. But with these anonymous coins, some of them do a mixing during transactions, which keeps them anonymous, and some just completely skew your wallet address as they do transactions. And I think that's a really cool space that's going to grow in the crypto world. And another thing that's really, really far out, but is just starting to be kind of researched and developed, is interweaving these coins and these blockchains to each other, so that you can seamlessly use Ether to look at, you know, medical records or something like that, and just seamlessly integrate multiple coins in your day-to-day life. And I think that's a really cool space to look into.
Yeah, Gus, in our opinion, and I think we talked about this earlier, if you had a choice between Bitcoin and Ethereum, go with Ethereum long term. It's because it has so many applications, and Bitcoin can only do currency, and
it doesn't even do that very great anymore. Because I don't know if y'all have tried to exchange any Bitcoin or anything, the transaction times can be up to an hour. I mean, it's almost an hour minimum, and it can take up to, you know, 2 days on some of these sites. Like I have friends who've bought on Coinbase and their transaction won't go through because there's so much volume. But these other coins are starting to just speed up so much faster than Bitcoin. So their pigeonhole, their niche in the currency aspect is they're starting to lose hold of it. And you're seeing that with all these other altcoins, such as like Bitcoin Cash, which is a rival. Dash is another one. Monero, Zcash. These are all coins in the sense that they are meant to be currency. And that's one thing to really remember too, is when you hear someone talking about cryptocurrency, it's not always meant to be monetary or used to be to buy things. You know? It's just a blockchain application is basically what cryptocurrency is referring to. Yeah, I think that's very important to remember, that all these aren't coins competing against each other. And if Bitcoin does figure out their speed issues and their scalability, Ethereum and Bitcoin can coexist. It's not one or the other, you know, they can coexist because there's so many different applications for Ethereum instead of just the Ether aspect or the monetary aspect. So,
cool. Any other questions?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So is the price of Ethereum affected by the new applications that use its blockchain? Like, is there a direct correlation between the two? Like, for example, the more applications that use their blockchain, will the price of Ethereum go up?
Yep. So like I said, with the Ethereum, when you buy the coin, you're actually buying Ether, which is the gas of the network. So if any of these applications come out, they have to use Ether in order to operate. And so if you own Ether, the price is going to go up.
It's like asking if a new shipping company would, like a huge shipping company would affect the price of oil in the real world, you know, because they're using the gas that the oil produces. It's like a commodity.
Okay, so that's why you're saying in the long run, Ethereum is a lot better buy than Bitcoin, because over the long run, there'll be more applications built on that blockchain,
exactly.
You'll be making money off that.
Yep, exactly. Because so if any of those applications do well or hit it big, become mainstream, they're going to benefit not only themselves but the whole Ethereum network. Because they're going to need
That's
more.
huge. That's huge. Shit.
Yeah.
But guys, I have a question there. What happens if there is a technology which comes up and it's replacing Ether? I mean, it's simply much better, scales better, faster, quicker, and everything does everything better than the Ether. Everybody changes to that new platform.
You'll know about it first because you're involved in it, and then you just put your money over to the new investment.
Yeah, there's a couple other platforms that are trying to allow for decentralized applications to be built on them. NEO is the biggest one I can think of, and that's it's a Chinese platform. People call it the Chinese Ethereum. And right now, if something came out like that, yeah, that'd be a great thing to look into. But I honestly don't think it'll be able to overtake Ethereum instantly. I think it'll be a kind of slow overtake, because just like Bitcoin, Ethereum's starting to get that name recognition where they were the first people in the space. So I do think there's going to be competition more than there is now. But as it stands, Ethereum is definitely the top dog. But there's got to be more people, developers building other stuff. So that's something to look out for. And that's the space that I'm most interested in, is just Ether rivals or other platforms that allow decentralized applications to be built on. I think that's a really great space to look into in terms of investing. So if you do come across one of those, let us know, see if we know about it, because if not, I want to invest.
You know about the hash graph technology, the hash graph.
Hash graph.
Yeah, it's just check it out on the internet, hashgraph, I think .com or something like this. And this seems to be actually like the next step in this technology, you know, where you have a distributed system, but it's just much quicker than Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it seems to be picking up a lot of air right now. And I don't think there's any coins based on that, but this is
Justin's pulling it up right now. Let's see here.
And I was, you know, like, because reading about Ethereum and Bitcoin and their all problems and, you know, related with the scalability and unsustainability of, you know, further development, and, you know, leads you to places like that. And it seems like there is a lot of technology being created on top of like the idea of blockchain, but completely different. And I wonder what happens, you know, when you're invested in all of these things and all of a sudden there is something like that coming at you, and you know, like, wow.
Yeah, that's a great point. The scalability is definitely the major issue right now with all these cryptos, is because people are learning about them so quickly, whereas 6 months ago nobody knew about, you know, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, whereas now they're talking about it on CNBC and on the news and stuff. So I have my grandparents asking me about stuff. So people are definitely struggling to keep up.
And this is scary, actually, when your taxi driver or grandparents start asking you about Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, then you're like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah, I have like the most random guy. Yeah, like I said, my grandfather asked me about it, and I was like, how do you didn't even know how to send an email until 2 years ago, you know? And now he's asking me about this. And that's been a huge problem, though, 'cause that's why the transactions, why people are slowly moving away from Bitcoin. So if they can solve the scalability, which, you know, there's plans, like Vitalik has plans, he says, for implementing Raven, or there's other networks, stuff like that, with either offline blocks or sharding. You know, there's different people are trying to scale in different ways.
Yeah, when it comes to investing, this is stuff that you'll learn from the videos. You're putting in money that you would have, you know, gone to the amusement park with and spend like $400, you know, partying or something, or going on a trip, and you throw that money in, and then when it hits 100% in gains, which it has consistently, you just pull out your initial investment, and now you're playing with house money. So there's really no stress at the end of the day, because you weren't worried putting that money in the first place, you're not betting the house on this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And you know, you guys, I mean, Adam, you know, you got extra money. Just move some stuff a little bit over from a savings account, and then it's just like just play with that stuff, and then you just hit something, and then you take all your money out, so then you don't even have to worry about it.
That was my
and
question.
when something big like hash group or whatever it's called comes up, it's not the next day everything crashes and it's the end of the world. You know, you can see the signs if you're paying attention like months ahead. And of course, you know, I'll be there too on the STI group. So if something's happening, I will, you know, I'll message. I'm not going to be silent about it. Watch everyone's houses crash like in 2007 or something. Because that stuff was fairly obvious if you were involved in the stock market. I don't understand why people weren't talking about it. So you guys will know. And you'll be investing in it. Cool. So anything else, guys? How was this? Was this informative, helpful?
This has been very good for me in terms of I guess getting my first taste of understanding, you know, coins and how things happen. I've heard so much about Bitcoins, but it's just been in little bits here in summary. But you know, the sort of details you've given, and I guess the sort of do's and don'ts have helped as well. You know, so about 3 weeks ago, somebody was suggesting I register with Coinbase, which I thought, okay, let me just register for it. But what's the next step? What am I doing? I've got quite a few friends that use Coinbase, but you know, it's just good to hear the narrative from your perspective, knowing full well that you've done this for, you know, donkey years, and so it's just about just being careful as well. And I think you've hit it in there and adjusted in terms of, you know, putting in money that you'd happily lose over a weekend or two, and raise the stakes, make the gains, and pull the core capital out. So you know, it's common sense and risk, you know, but it's something worth doing as well. You know, that's how I choose to see it. But, yeah.
Yeah, like you
Thank you
said,
so
we're really just trying to introduce people to the market that don't have a lot of experience in it. And like you said,
Sure.
things that should be obvious to, you know, us and you, whereas, you know, don't invest too much money. A lot of people don't realize that. And so we're trying to look out for people. And what I think is obvious, you might not, you know, luckily you're a smart guy, you caught on, but some of these people don't understand that. And they just see these ridiculous gains
Sure.
that people are taking. And they think, you know, they're just going to put some money in and get rich instantly without having to do work, when in reality, that's not how it works. So,
and bear in mind that still only 5% of the of people have actually invested in cryptocurrencies. There's still, I don't know what my point was for saying that, but yes, it's so early, and it's like people think everyone's starting to like panic because, you know, you hear on like Twitter and Facebook all these people investing in Bitcoin and stuff. And I think the best example of that was when we were in London. It's always the loudest person who invests first, and no one's more loud than parents. And of course, so it sounded like, you know, everyone was investing, but it was just Terrence and me. So it really was still early stages.
Radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, this brings me to one other point is, let's say I'm invested in this. Do you guys have like an exit strategy? Like something that you keep in mind all the time, you know, like, okay, we are there. We started it with Ethereum 700, let's say, and our plan is to exit it when it hits 1,000. And that's it. You know, do you have this, or do you rather just wait for, you know, it hitting the moon, you know, like?
No, there's, you'll see in the videos, when you see the videos, that they have a very set strategy involved in buys and sells. You never, like trading becomes very boring when you actually learn how to trade, because you know exactly what you're going to do going in. And it's not just an exit strategy for how much it gains. You need an exit strategy in case you lose. And it blows. The key to all that stuff that no one ever does is they have these entry and exit strategies, but they don't get in at the right time. And these videos did a very good job in explaining that you have to get in at the right time for these strategies to work. if you just jump in because you want to buy Bitcoin, you know, you're gonna get screwed. And I was telling all my friends that back when Bitcoin was at $20,000 or 15,000 pounds, and it was like, they're like, oh, I got to get in. And I'm like, just wait, it's going to come back. It comes back. And then, you know, they got in at 12.5, which was a much better price. So you start to see, when you see the videos, like I said, we couldn't put 12 hours worth of information in this one webinar. I couldn't make you guys into stock market traders in an hour. But yeah, all those entry exit points are discussed. And very
do they also discuss something like you mentioned before, that it's not so easy to exit? You know, like with Bitcoin, when people start selling, I don't know who's selling, like maybe some institutions, I don't know, they this goes rapidly down, you know, like really quickly. It's very volatile. So even though you plan to exit it, let's say you were at 20K and you plan to exit at 18, you know, like when it falls to 18, I exit. You couldn't. You know, aren't you afraid of this stuff, guys, when you're investing in cryptos?
Well, that's on certain exchanges. On most reputable exchanges, you'll be able to exit out into or cash out, whatever you want to call it. And you may not, your money might not hit your bank account within 5 days or so, but you'll get tied into the price you exited out at. So you still can. There's risk there, obviously, but you can get out before, you know, the whole thing collapses. Say, you know, some announcement happened where whether it be regulation or, you know, the whole network went down and all of a sudden Bitcoin price started plummeting. At least with the sites I use, I know once I click my sell order or whatever have you, you're tied into that price. And whether the network's congested and it doesn't process immediately, you're tied in there. So you should be able to exit. And that's why you definitely want to use a reputable exchange. And we're going to show you that link that shows you reputable exchanges all around the world and stuff. And there's also Bitcoin ATMs. I'm not sure where you are, but they have those. They even have them in the United States, in Charleston, South Carolina, which you wouldn't expect, but they're starting to pop up everywhere. And people are even coming out with Bitcoin credit and debit cards now. So technology is getting more accessible, hopefully, but that's a great question.
Yeah, that's why we talked about avoiding Coinbase, because like it's a great place to start, but like we said, that's the only it's the most popular one among, you know, everyday people. But the second you're able to switch out of the Coinbase, the better.
Yeah, and if you have experience trading and stuff, that's one thing that's really great about the cryptocurrency market is that it's put the ability to trade really easily at people's fingertips who would have never, you know, gotten an E-Trade account or tried to trade stocks or anything on their own. So there is a lot of I don't know, noobs or people who don't really know what they're doing, you know, trying to trade and stuff. So it's interesting to watch. And obviously that's why we're having a lot of these horror stories that you hear about too, because these people don't have any clue what they're doing. They wouldn't even be interested in the, you know, stock market or any other market. But since crypto is so easily accessible and right at your fingertips with apps like Coinbase and stuff, that everybody's getting into it. So we're just starting to see early adoption, I think. And there's a long way to go before anything catastrophic happens, hopefully.
Cool. Anything else? Adam's a financial guy, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Some good questions. Yeah.
Anything else?
I noticed
Sounds good, guys.
I noticed you focused a lot on Ethereum and Bitcoin, but you spoke less on Litecoin. What's your confidence level on Litecoin?
I'm not too heavy into it, just for several reasons. Litecoin was a Bitcoin fork. You seem like you've done some research on cryptocurrencies, so you probably know what forks are, but you know, it's where you just take the original blockchain and decide to go in a different direction, whether that be with transaction speeds or what have you. So I'm not big on any of the Bitcoin forks. And another thing is last week, the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee, sold all his Litecoin, all his basically stake in the company. So he was saying he did that to not be clouded in his representing the brand, but to me that's kind of an off sign. I would think you would want to hold on to that. But
Yeah, it's messed up.
yeah, I thought it was kind of odd timing. It just happened right when prices hit
That is scary.
sky high. So I don't really have a lot of faith in their development team and stuff. But obviously they've gone from $50 to I think around 300 now in less than like 2 or 3 months. So it just shows you the market, how quickly some stuff can explode. And Litecoin's been around for a while too, at least a couple of years. And I don't know if it's the Coinbase effect, because I don't know if y'all know, but a couple of weeks ago, Coinbase was the most downloaded app by on the Mac Store and the Apple Store. So there's 4 coins listed on. There's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash now, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And I think it really might have just benefited from being on Coinbase and seeing this huge influx of new users, because at the time it was the cheapest one on there. So I think people automatically thought that it was a good idea to buy that. And I think it's kind of a lot of green investors in there. A lot of new people not really looking into it, just looking at charts and seeing that it's spiked, thinking it's going to spike again. But their transactions right now are quicker than Bitcoin, but that's just because they have less transactions volume, So I don't think the coin's any better.
Right.
So I think it's just rebranded, essentially.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is the transaction speed on Ethereum?
It's much quicker than Bitcoin. It's usually within 12 minutes, because every block comes out. I think it's every 34 seconds or 44 seconds. There's a new block created, and most places require 12 blocks. So it's going to be a little under 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, but it also depends on the exchange you use. But if we were to peer-to-peer send exchange Ethereum, it should go through within 10 minutes. So, and that's with 10 plus confirmations.
Anything else, guys?
Okay.
We're at the hour.
What are the next steps?
Yeah.
So what are the next? When can we send you guys a beer?
When you start making money, or when you open your account, I guess. I'll get those videos up. I was just gonna give you my account password and username, but I already got a warning from them about that. But they did make the mistake of putting their videos on YouTube privately, but I can download YouTube videos, so I'm just gonna make a Google Doc.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Trust me, they're all millionaires. Nobody's losing any money off this. It's not mean. They've made enough money off these videos. Trust me. So that'll be up by the 29th, I think. And you guys will be able to cruise.
Can we follow you guys somewhere? Like all the things that you're doing, the website, the maybe videos, whatever you will publish.
Yeah, it's gonna be on robincoins.com.
Send that link.
What did you call that? Robin what?
It's on the chat. Robin Coins.
Got it.
Like Robin Hood, except
I see that. Awesome.
Yeah. And,
It's a clever name, right?
yeah,
Nice.
that's the best part about all this is that
Genevieve is not smiling today.
what was that? You cut out.
No, I was saying that Genevieve's not smiling. Either Genevieve, that's a lot better. Waving at you. Awesome.
Hello.
And I really appreciate this, guys. This is very good. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Something to include my spare time into. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
get it.
there anything we did wrong, or maybe we should try to work on, you think?
You know that this, like we learned on Speak to Inspire, you need to build up the negatives and the positives. You were very positive, but didn't go too much into the negative, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I would work on that. If you would add something where it's like, you should be worried about that and somebody lost money, blah. So don't invest all your savings, You did that, but, in the beginning, if you did that, you would catch my attention instantly. Because I've heard all these positives you read about this, people excited about this everywhere, but you don't hear too much about the negatives.
I know exactly what to do now. And I'm trying to log Josh some hours in front of live camera because he's about to embark on his own journey.
Awesome.
Get ready to inspire some people.
That's great.
Very
We'll
new to
definitely
this.
follow you guys.
Nelson's tutoring me. So
Very good.
So are you two doing the YouTube together or what?
I'll be on there helping him until he's ready to do it on his own. But Josh is going to be the star.
yeah, he'll be more back end and be more in front of the camera, trying to do this, trying to work on this.
Okay.
Are you going to wear
Awesome.
suits? Like three?
Yeah, next time I
suits?
won't wear a backwards hat and a flannel. I'll dress up a little more professionally.
I'm wearing some underneath me.
All right.
We're setting up a makeshift studio right now, so
Yeah, I told him about it. I was dropping cash on.
That's very good, man.
Yeah, so we're gonna get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it.
yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the
Thank
time,
you
man.
guys for
We'll be in
sharing.
touch as well. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.
Have a good day. Ciao, guys.
Ciao.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.